So today I would like to speak about negative and positive energy and the way we process it through our body and what that would mean for our body. First of all, energy starts with our consciousness. Consciousness is energy. Consciousness, depending on its energy, produces the perception of time. And so it exists kinda in two modes when it comes to our body, or the way the body, the nervous system processes the conscious experience, the reality in general. So when we cultivate ourselves, when we are focused within, when we remain within our body, we experience bliss of contentment. We experience self-cultivation. Self-cultivation means our body is relaxed. We experience natural absorption and thus deep relaxation of nervous system, so-called equanimity, Samadhi, meditative state, meditative absorption, whatever you call it. But when the negative experience of reality is when gradually, because of either trauma or whatever system we're living in, our consciousness learns to constantly remain in the projected reality or remain within the projected reality outside of the body. And so this is the negative mode when our body experiences the energy loss, or it's being drained because consciousness is not nurturing it. It's not remaining within this vehicle so that this vehicle can be nurtured. And so the consciousness is constantly empowering whatever elements outside of self. And these elements don't even need to be concrete elements like people or events or situations. They can be concepts, ideas that the person is constantly entertaining. But so they are not within the body. They're in the realm of thoughts and emotions. And so still the consciousness is in the projected mode. When the consciousness is in the projected mode for a long time, our body experiences energy loss, draining, and thus stress, contraction. So these contractions of the nervous system for a long time cause imbalances in the body, in the function of organs, because there is no proper energy circulation within the body. The proper energy circulation happens only when one's consciousness is constantly, or for most part, is within the body, in a thoughtless state. And one of the followers asked about what is the moment of truth, or how can I live in truth? Truth is cultivating one's essence. When you cultivate one's essence, you are the emanation of that essence without thoughts. You don't need to premeditate what you're going to say or how you're going to behave. In each given moment of time, you're just naturally expressing. For most people, it is impossible to understand how it is or could be, because most of the people experience this reality through the prism of their past traumas. And so their past traumas cause them or caused them in the past to create masks, to constantly think and analyze. And so this practice keeps on draining their light essence or conscious essence or spiritual essence, whatever you wish to call it. And so when this process is set in motion and it happens for a long time, one experiences constant contraction of the body, of the nervous system. And this is the way we experience consciousness in a negative mode, in a self-destructive mode. But again, this self-destructive mode is from the standpoint of the destruction of our body, a draining of our body, because consciousness loses its vital essence, its energy to the projection, empowering certain elements within the projected reality and maybe even leaving fragments of it within the projected reality. So we become more and more fragmented and we lose the wholesomeness. When we are fully in the body, we experience wholesomeness of reality. In other words, contentment, spiritual awakening. Spiritual awakening is just a moment of yoga or wholesomeness, alignment with the essence which is within the body. The consciousness within itself in the body. That's the moment of yoga, the moment of awakening. And when you restore that realization, that awareness of that wholesomeness of the being in the body, you understand that now the task is to stop this constant habit of projecting self, validating self from the external reality, empowering self through the projected reality, or looking for the truth in the projected reality, or looking for power, knowledge within the projected reality. The whole perspective shifts. The awakened perspective means your perspective shifted from the projection, from the illusion, into the essence, which is within the self, which keeps on, keeps you being focused within the body. And when you focused within the body, on yourself, on your essence, you start realizing what spirituality is, what spiritual cultivation is, what spiritual power is, and what inner knowing is. So no one needs to explain you that, you just simply know. And so when we speak about consciousness in terms of the experience of positive and negative energy, on the physical level, the negative experience is pain of contraction, the contraction of nervous system or stress, because of our mind, our consciousness is being for too long outside of the body and empowering separate elements of the projected reality of this illusion outside of self. Now, the relaxed or the positive experience, or balance, or health, or wholesomeness and contentment, are the experiences when the consciousness is within itself in the body, empowering the body, aligning the body with the creative being. A creative being is the power of consciousness. That's where one feels empowered. One restores one's health balance. One stops looking outside of self and also gains natural power, the power which is independent from the external reality. One no longer needs validation from the external reality. One no longer has questions such as, who am I? Where am I going? What my purpose is? It's just all a spontaneous expression of that creative being through one's soul. So now we can understand. Now, the other aspect is about negative energy being a driving force of evolution, as I spoke about it in another video. The negative energy, or the experience of contraction, of limitation, restriction, becomes a driving force, because when we experience this contraction, limitation, we realize that negative energy is the energy of limitation itself. And so by recognizing that, we do not deny any experience, even if it's the experience of negative nature, but we embrace it because we realize that since this experience causes or invokes this feeling, it might as well be the road or the path to liberation if you just watch the experience and surrender into the experience, learn the lesson and let go. So again, the relaxed mode can be experienced permanently only when one prioritizes oneself, prioritizes one's essence, and realizes there is nothing more powerful outside of oneself. And one also experiences constant bliss, rejuvenation, and practices letting go. So whatever thought arises, even if it arises, it doesn't leave any impression. The enlightened being is that which consciousness detangled or untangled itself from the projected reality. And so whatever one observes, whatever fluctuations within the illusionary or projected reality one experiences, these situations, people, events do not leave any impression, because that consciousness is focused within itself, on its essence, not on the fluctuation of the projected reality or happenings of within this dimension of creation. And that's why the enlightened being is that of a thoughtless being. And even though one may experience emotions, no one can trigger these emotions. And that's why most of the enlightened beings are having pure or purified emotions, which are pure anger or pure love, compassion. So, and these are very powerful emotions. That's why enlightened beings or highly evolved beings can transmit that higher frequency of love as a blessing, or they can also reflect negative energy of others and can invoke, or anger, pure anger can be invoked, and it can be a curse. The transmission of pure anger is a curse, and transmission of pure love is a blessing. But this is a topic of another video. Now, it's important to realize that there's no practice for thoughtless being. If you learn to prioritize oneself after the awakening, if you understand that no matter what is going on in your external reality, you are focused within, your consciousness remains in an unmovable state, because there's nothing more important than your own being. And you observe the fluctuations of the external reality through that unmovable being. You're called a wise being. You are naturally experiencing meditative absorption. You are naturally in a thoughtless state, and you do not waste your vital energy. That's why you heal, rejuvenate, cultivate yourself, have enough energy to shift in your perspective. Also mature your light body or your light being and transit from this dimension. Without that, the more you empower the external dimension, the external side of this reality, of this dimension, the less a chance you have to transcend this dimension and continue your evolution in a subtler form, in a light form. Because if you focus within, you are cultivating self, or in other words, your subtle being, subtle body, light body. If you are constantly within the projected reality, you drain your current physical body, and you have no opportunity to cultivate your own light being. And so you're just living in a mode of being 1 foot in one boat and 1 foot in the other. And so maybe you're entertaining yourself with nice talks and good reads and maybe other people's experiences or stories, but you are still in the projected reality rather than within. So for those who understand this message and the point of this message, start shifting the perspective within today, now. And whenever your consciousness has an excuse to wander outwards or empower something outside of you, of your being, your subtle spiritual being, bring it back in. Remind yourself of what is important and what is unimportant. And this way you will definitely realize the natural, spontaneous spiritual practice, which is simply keeping your focus within. Thank you very much. If you like the content, like and subscribe. Thank you.